Welcome back to SCTV for ScreeningClub.com, where we break down the latest in television entertainment for you each week. And welcome back to, well, really, it's been bouncing back and forth. Actually, Chris, you didn't end up missing, but Chris is coming off of some surgery.
4 teeth were pulled, all my wisdom teeth. Sorry if I sound a little weird.
No, you sound pretty good, man. And we're just 1 week back from welcoming back Mike, and finally we're all back
Hello,
together.
It's good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
I have my normal voice back as well. I'm feeling good. I've transferred my physical pain to Chris for this week.
Yep. I
Always
take
a
it
good friend.
happily.
Someone had to absorb it.
That's
like
true.
It couldn't just go away.
Someone always has to be in pain on the podcast.
Chris, any funny wisdom teeth removal stories for us?
Nothing too funny. I woke up what seemed like 75% way through the process.
Uh-oh.
And it seemed like they were having problems. My teeth were very impacted.
Is this true?
Yep. My teeth were very impacted, and like they had to do some crazy things to get out, so it's like my recovery's taking longer than normal. But anyway, so I woke up 70% way through, and they seemed like they were having problems with one of the teeth taking it out, and I had to let my presence be known somehow. So I because I wanted to go back under very badly, so I kept opening my eyes very widely and looking, staring at people, and then finally they saw me, and
I'm surprised you remember that.
No, I remember. Yeah, I remember it.
Were they like, he's up?
No, they weren't. They were like, oh, hey. They were like, hey, Chris, we're just going to give you a little bit more, and blah, blah, blah. And then I woke up at the end.
Oh, my gosh. Could you feel what they were doing, or it was all
No, I couldn't feel anything, but I knew I shouldn't be awake at that point.
Now, did you think about going ugh, but you decided not to, so it wouldn't mess with things?
Maybe I did, but I really remember just trying to stare at people.
Start violently screaming and flailing your arms.
Could you move, Chris? Do you think?
I don't remember. I think they did tie me down a little bit, but I really don't remember much.
Chris, I didn't know about you waking up. That's my number one fear.
In actuality, it was probably 30 seconds. It was maybe even less than that. But in my mind, it was this big thing.
Is it possible that you waking up itself was a dream?
Maybe. I will say I've been having to. Another funny story. This is the last funny story. It's not really funny. It's kind of sad, actually. You have to eat really mushed up things. And I'm still yesterday I just graduated to a little bit of chicken. And it was very nice. But anyway, yesterday at work at lunch, I was so hungry, and all I had to eat was a protein shake or whatever. And I was like, I'm so hungry. So I got in my car and I drove to KFC, and I got a thing of mashed potatoes. I just sat in my car and ate KFC mashed potatoes for lunch.
Are you supposed to, though?
No, yeah, mashed potatoes are a good thing to eat.
Oh, okay.
I had a couple days after the surgery, I had really good mashed potatoes, and it was great.
Mike, did anything happen to you since you've been not sick?
No, just been working, trying to fit in all these shows. Just snuck in The Young Pope right under the wire right before we started recording.
Yeah, I had to cram recently too. I was in no position to watch shows in any critical manner.
I have a very quick, not story, but idea. And someday we'll have to have him on, all of our mutual friend, Tony, who we do sometimes call Ruger, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
We were trying to schedule a lunch together, and I haven't used this on him yet, but I'll use it when, before this airs. Tell me this isn't a great quote. I guess it's a little inside jokish, but not really. So, he's asking me, when do you want to have lunch? When do you want to have lunch? And then the time that he picked wasn't the best for me. So I'm going to say, that time's not great, but beggars can't be Rugers. Is that a pretty good line? Because it plays off of his name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So I'll let you guys know how he reacts to it.
Yeah. Give us an update next week.
but anyway, we had a couple of big things happen in the realm of entertainment since last time we spoke, right? We had the Oscar nominations, and we had the SAG Awards. So why don't we touch on that a little bit? Maybe we can start with the SAG Awards. Any initial thoughts from you guys?
Yeah, I have the list up here from all the television winners. I think there were some surprises.
Let's see.
Just to run through here, starting with the outstanding performance by an ensemble in a drama series. One of my very favorite shows from last year took home the big prize, Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
I saw.
And I would say deservedly so.
That makes sense.
That cast was like reason number one to watch that show.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it got the honor.
They did do a great job. And did you guys see Winona Ryder? That whole...
Yeah, that's what everyone's talking about. Why was she making those faces?
It doesn't seem within any context that could have been
Well,
happening.
I've heard it presumed that she was on edibles at the time, which makes sense.
She was on something.
But is that like... Is that just... I can't imagine that that's her at any time. Like, unless it was the first time she was trying something. Like, you'd think she
edibles are a... You have to test out edibles. They're like a lot more psychedelic of an experience than regular weed, and the doses, like when people are mixing pot food, there's no like oversight, so you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, well, of course there's extreme oversight in like California now, right? If she buy a legitimate place.
Well, not oversight in that sense where you don't know 100% for sure that like this amount of weed went into this, or if she could have gotten it from who knows where she could have gotten it from a friend. But also you don't know how your personal body chemistry is going to react to it. So there's all these different variables when it comes to edibles.
So, which is why I doubt that it would be like the first time she was trying something before going.
Oh yeah.
On stage,
but who knows? Maybe she's wild. Maybe she didn't know.
But have you guys seen the video that someone made of the pizza flying around?
Oh yeah.
No, I haven't. I'm going to see that.
Should watch it, Chris. We might have to do a live reaction video.
Yeah, live
on the YouTube
live
channel.
react.
But it was so weird, and people were saying maybe she was reacting to the speech that was being made, but really she was
David Harbour gave a really just like grand
speech,
loud, bombastic, self-indulgent speech about actors and their role and in shaping like the world,
changing the world.
So maybe she was just so blown away by that.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame her.
But that's definitely a solid win that we're all happy about.
That's a good award. Like ensemble casts don't get
it. Honors the whole.
Yeah, like
cast.
That award should be more widespread in other award shows.
I enjoy it as well. And then on the flip side, the comedy side, my very favorite show from last year, Orange is the New Black, won Best Ensemble. Never going to gripe with that.
Comedy,
I know.
In quotes.
Up against other, really just traditional comedies: Big Bang Theory, Blackish, Modern Family, and Veep. But Orange is the New Black. I mean, it really has.
Yeah,
like it's inarguable that's like one of the very best ensemble casts.
It's like the thing about that show is that there's so many different characters that it focuses on.
I mean, there's no real like main character. It is just an ensemble.
Especially last season.
Especially.
I was watching Veep. I was rewatching the episode of Veep the other night. Sorry, it got me thinking about Veep.
No.
Do you guys remember that one scene where she has to go during the governmental shutdown and go talk to I think it's the Speaker of the House about getting a deal done? Mm-hmm. And then he reads a statement from the president that says like, Selena is a like a great VP who really tried hard but ultimately failed, and then he's like, you gotta think of the subtext, because she's like, that sounds pretty good, he said I'm great, and then one of my favorite I think lines, like she says to him at the end, you know, you're a lot older than me, and if in like 5 years you pass away, I'm gonna be the one they send to your funeral to give the what's it called,
the eulogy,
and then she goes, and there's going to be a lot of subtext in that eulogy. Like, that was just a great line.
That's a great ensemble, too.
It is.
I mean, it's overpowered by the amazing performance that she gives. And she, of course, won Best Female Comedy Actress.
Good for her.
I'm sure she's won. I think she's won like 7 of these awards. She's such a force. William H. Macy won for Best Actor in a Comedy Series in Shameless. Can't say he's the most deserving there.
That show's not even ending this year, right?
It's not ending this year.
So it's not like
what
a
does that have to do?
farewell. Sometimes they give like a farewell award.
Yeah, he really isn't. First of all, he's not the main like male actor in that show. I would say there are other more prevalent performances, and it's good. But I mean, it's not like, wow, this man deserves an award for it. So
Yeah.
I've never seen that show.
I love the
Neither
show,
have I.
but I can't say that William H. Macy deserves the Best Actor award.
Chris, you haven't seen it either?
Nope.
So who do you think, Mike, then? Jeffrey Tambor?
I mean, of the ones nominated, I think definitely Tambor.
Not a big Anthony Anderson fan?
I've never seen Blackish, and I'm not a huge Anthony Anderson fan. But I mean,
Apparently
Jeffrey
everyone
Tambor
loves it.
is giving a transcendent performance in Transparent.
Okay.
Sarah Paulson, I think she cleaned house. I think every award that she was nominated for this performance, and OJ, she won.
Deservingly.
Isn't she going to be in the new Oceans movie? Did you guys hear
I
about
think
that?
so, yeah.
I think I read that.
I saw like a promo picture for it. There's lots of big stars in that movie.
Yeah.
Not a big fan, Chris?
I really I didn't. I think I saw that news, but I'm not sure. So I don't really know much about it.
True. I can check it out.
I'm sure you're right.
Anyway, what else do we have here? What is this? Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, Cranston won for Best Actor in a Limited Series.
That political
television
HBO
movie.
series, right?
He played LBJ.
Yeah.
in Alderman.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Just a big, meaty, showy role. That actors love, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And then the other 2 acting awards for TV were won by actors from The Crown.
I've been moving through The Crown.
Have you? I haven't seen it.
I've only got a couple episodes.
It's looking like
left.
it's going to be an awards powerhouse for years to come. Like voters love it.
They love The Crown. How is it?
Anything to do with the royal family or
Like the opulence
England
of Britain,
or
yeah.
European productions, they're always going to just look at Downton Abbey. It was always such an award staple, and it looks like The Crown is going to fill that void.
Yeah.
I find The Crown so interesting because of my general, just don't understand how the royal family still is a thing. I don't get it.
Yep.
I mean, I know there's arguments for and against it, and I won't get into it, but I know, our country was founded on being against that. So I think it's understandable. But I think, another thing that's interesting that's been sort of, a public, like a controversy is the relationship between the Queen and, I think his name is Philip.
Prince Philip?
Yeah. And of course, you guys know the whole thing where, because she was the eldest and, her father only had daughters,
yeah,
she had to become queen, but her husband does not become king. If it was a man, Queen Elizabeth's son will become king, and his wife will become queen, but the queen's husband does not become king.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she has a husband, but his name is Prince Regent or something, because you have to be part of the family. You can't marry into becoming king. That's the whole thing.
But you can into becoming queen.
Yes, but it's Queen Regent.
Because, yeah.
So for some reason,
it's all about having the eldest in the line of the monarchy having the most power.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So the big thing though is I think it's pretty public knowledge that they haven't had a great marriage. It's been a little bit disputes and sort of like they've stayed married, but it hasn't been the most joyous. And they really dive into that here. And some of the stuff, apparently, like, people have approached, whatever, Buckingham Palace or whatever, and said, is this crazy thing that they said happened in The Crown? Like, did that really happen? And the royal family has said, like, this is complete fiction. Like, everything in the show is fiction and nothing, like, we're not saying that anything happened. But you got to imagine, I bet a lot of this stuff happened.
Probably, yeah.
So it's been pretty interesting. Really, last time we spoke about this, I had only watched like the first episode, and John Lithgow, he was barely doing much, but he has expanded, and it's pretty good. He really does a pretty good job.
Well, he won the Outstanding Male Actor in a Drama Series, so
I mean,
doing something right.
I'd say, wow, Peter Dinklage was, he barely had it wasn't a big season for him in Game of Thrones.
He's always going to get nominated.
Yeah.
He's just like the de facto actor from that show that will always be recognized.
And because Kit Harington, who is the other de facto, it doesn't have like these big acting moments in the show. He has like these physical big moments, but I mean, Tyrion is the real talker.
Let me say, best moment all time, Game of Thrones at Tyrion's trial, right? That was like the best speech ever given in Game of Thrones.
That was a great speech.
I will get no justice here.
Yeah. Oh, what a speech. That's a killer. That's like an all-time TV speech. But anyway, not to get into that. Any other awards we're thinking of?
I mean, we ran through all the TV awards. Do you have any movie nominations?
Well, if we're talking about movies, you want to just touch on the Oscars a little bit, since those nominations just came out?
Well, let me really quickly, though, just say sorry, because I just wanted to mention, I see here, Manchester by the Sea completely denied at the SAG Awards.
Wow.
Right? Because they were nominated for a few things and lost everything.
It was nominated for a whole bunch of things.
That's true.
It was denied all awards? Or did they win something?
It did not win. But there's only like 12 awards handed out.
Yeah, sure. I guess only the very best
just
win.
acting.
I'm thinking maybe SAG voters tune in to the podcast and heard maybe Manchester by the Sea isn't everything it was cracked up to be.
If they had tuned in, they would have heard two people like fawning over it, and one man just going like unhinged about it. And
well, I think there was two sides of unhinged. I think it was going back and forth. But also, I'm sure the SAG voters are constantly, we're always hearing these elitist views, and then finally, a little refreshing. Okay, maybe Manchester by the Sea just wasn't as great. And, I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm the only one here that saw Hidden Figures. I don't know.
I think you might be the first person in history to not call the SAG voters elitist. They might be, if you're going to call people elitist, the Hollywood elite is the one voting on these.
Yeah, and I'm saying that that's all they normally ever get to experience, and that they may have listened to the other side this time. Hidden Figures was pretty good. I found it more, like, obviously there's an undercurrent of a very important theme of, racial, equality and things, but the movie itself, I don't know. Like, it was pretty good. I thought it was like a funny little movie outside of, and maybe there's something to be said about dealing with very strong themes using some humor and stuff. But wow, so that's like, that's the biggest award because it's acting award, but like, that's the biggest one for a movie, right? And it won.
Yeah, the best ensemble.
Wow. Well, we'll have to see. And then Denzel Washington over Casey Affleck for Fences. I haven't seen Fences.
I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it, but he's supposed to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
One of the greatest actors of our time.
Well, sorry to interrupt. Him and Kiefer Sutherland are right, sort of neck and neck. But let's talk Oscars. Sorry to interrupt, please.
Sure. So yeah, those came out last week. Weren't a whole lot of big surprises.
Yeah, nothing too surprising.
but I would say a whole lot of worthy things were nominated.
Hidden Figures, though? I can't believe
that
it.
was not a surprise.
It's getting a lot of buzz, you know. And I mean,
I didn't know about
we
this.
haven't seen it, but it might be a surprise for you, you know.
For a while.
Yeah.
There's just been, it's all about campaigning with the Oscars, and
true.
there's been a rigorous campaign
For your
Hidden Figures over the
consideration.
last month or so. So that doesn't shock me.
There was a push since, you know, they expanded the Best Picture to 10 nominees. There was a push to get Deadpool nominated.
I'm thankful Deadpool
To be the first superhero movie
I don't think
to be...
Deadpool saw a single nomination. Which
Wait, but there isn't. There's only 9, right? So do they...
Is it 9?
there were
It could
9
be up to
nominated.
10?
I'll read them through in alphabetical order.
Or maybe they upped it to 9. but I thought it was
Arrival,
10.
which cheers to that.
I really enjoyed it, too.
Yep.
Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, La La Land, Lion, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight. So there's definitely some tiers, I would say, within this pool of nominees.
Have you guys seen Hell or High Water, either of you?
I have not seen
No.
that. It's available to rent, and it's been on my list of things to do for a long time.
Is that Jeff Bridges?
It is Jeff Bridges. It's very good, but I wouldn't say it's one of the 9 best movies of the year.
Yeah, that movie kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was in limited release when I saw it.
Huge awards getter, or nominee getter.
It is very apt for the time. It's about taking down those banks, those elitist bankers.
Wait, Hell or High Water is about taking down the elitist bankers?
Yeah, it's about bank robbers.
Oh, okay. Is it set in modern times?
Mm-hmm. It's like a modern western.
Oh, okay. Let me talk about Andrew Garfield and Hacksaw Ridge for a moment.
Sure.
I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but I saw the other movie that Andrew Garfield was in, the Martin Scorsese
Amazing
movie,
Spider-Man 2?
Silence.
Oh, okay.
What? What did you say, Chris?
That was a little joke.
Well, he's hopped up on his tooth pills.
I said, you said, I saw the other movie that Andrew Garfield was in, and I said, Amazing Spider-Man 2?
He was in that. He was in that.
Actually, as I posted on Twitter the other day, him and the guy from the comedic guy, what's his name? Ben Schwartz. I always get them mixed up.
Okay.
Like, they look exactly the same. Well,
I wouldn't say that.
everyone go check
They have
out
similar hairstyles. I'll give you that.
Twitter.com/Jeffam, Jeffam. Look at the proof that I've put up there. I created myself in Photoshop a side-by-side comparison of a picture of Andrew Garfield and Ben Schwartz. Decide for yourself whether me thinking that they look the same is justified.
Yep.
But anyway, I love Martin Scorsese, as you can see by a giant poster I have of
Well,
Shutter Island
who
hanging
doesn't
here.
love Martin Scorsese?
Okay.
I gotta see Silence.
I don't know if I would.
Really? You wouldn't recommend it?
And I really do love him, Martin Scorsese, and I don't know. I don't want to say anything. It was very long, and not a lot happened.
I heard it's not the most accessible of all of his work.
And I'll tell you this: when I left there, I said, like the ultimate two movie double feature would be Silence followed by Manchester by the Sea. It's like very long, nothing happens, and your soul is taken out of you. So maybe, I mean, you love
What time
Manchester
period
by
is
the Sea.
Silence in? Setting.
Well, Chris, maybe, I mean, it's also, do you know like anything about it?
I've seen the trailer once in the theater, and I forget if it was modern day or...
It's not modern day.
You know, I think it's in like
very old.
1800s, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's whatever. Like when I don't know what the period would be, but I guess yeah, that seems like it's probably about right.
That's cool.
Lots of I mean, I was getting excited when that came out because they like switched when the movie was going to come out because you know it looked like it was for trying to get some award recognition. Like I think it came out at the very end of last year, and then just complete shutdown. Right? It wasn't nominated for anything. Right? I mean, it was just
No, it was nominated for, I think, cinematography.
Oh, okay.
Got a cinematography nomination. Yep.
It was very beautiful, and it had its moments. It had its moments.
I definitely think that they had been hoping for more, more nominees for that movie. They fell a bit short. Probably the biggest travesty, I would say, among all of these nominees, comes from the makeup and hairstyling category, in which Suicide Squad received a nomination.
No.
Probably the worst movie to come out from last year, that I saw at least. It's just on principle alone that Suicide Squad is now considered an Oscar-nominated film.
Yeah, but no,
that's really sad.
Shameful.
Isn't makeup and hairstyling always like...
It's like the
wild,
weirdest. It is like the
one.
weirdest category. There's always like very few nominees. They're very obscure, like weird movies.
Like
A Man Called Ove also was nominated in this category. I've never heard of
I've seen
that.
that on Amazon.
Star Trek Beyond was nominated in this category.
Wait, so
And
there's
that's it.
only 3? So Suicide Squad could be an Oscar winner?
It could.
One
I
out of 3
doubt it would
chance?
I couldn't imagine.
Did you guys didn't see Star Trek Beyond, right?
No.
I forgot that movie came out.
There was some good. Now that I'm remembering it, there was some good makeup in that movie. Idris Elba's character goes through some transformations that
You know what?
do some good makeup. Well,
Oh, Idris Elba's in there?
he's the villain.
Oh, okay. I feel like you know what many people consider the craziest Oscar makeup and hairstyling win? That Johnny Knoxville movie.
Bad Grandpa.
Yeah.
I think that received a nomination last year.
Oh, yeah. Was it a win or a nomination?
Didn't win, I don't think.
Well, still, Oscar-nominated
Still,
movie
yeah.
Bad Grandpa.
It's just the weirdest category in the whole selection.
Oh, my God. Wasn't there a Bad Grandpa 2? Am I incorrect?
I think you are incorrect.
I've never seen
I
either.
think they did like a 1.5. You know how when those Jackass guys do
yes.
video releases.
Can we talk for a minute about best or original song?
Sure.
Sure.
Now, there's nothing by John Legend this year.
Thank God.
Though he was eligible.
Wow, 2 from La La Land. Audition. Oh, the audition one. I remember that one.
Which is in the audition, yeah.
I like that one a lot more than City of Stars, which I believe
the
is
City
the
of Stars.
recurring one.
I get why it was nominated during the Golden Globes and why it's nominated here, but I don't think it's the best song in that movie.
This is like so hard
defend
though. Like the Justin Timberlake song is like a pop funk dance song. I don't know what the Empty Chair is. I'll have to listen to that. And I don't know what the song from Mona is.
From Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, that's why I thought that was going to win at the Golden Globes, because then he would go
People
up.
loved that man.
Yeah,
What won at the Golden Globes? I forget.
it's a good question.
I think
it
La La
was
Land won.
La La, yeah,
Okay.
one of its
City of Stars.
One of its many awards.
Anything else sticking out to you guys?
Yeah, I wanted to just touch on the original screenplay category, in which The Lobster got nominated. I tweeted this out that morning.
Now, Mike, you've spoken about The Lobster before, though, right? You've been a fan.
I'm a huge fan of The Lobster, and I mentioned this before the start of our recording, but I'm going to mention it again, that when I first saw The Lobster back in, like, March of last year, or whenever that was. I don't think it was March.
We can go back
Maybe.
on our
Maybe sometime in the summer.
All right, Letterboxd.
I said to Chris, that movie better get a best original screenplay nomination because it deserves it, and I'm glad that it was recognized here.
Very nice.
It's true. That movie needs a little bit more love than it deserved.
If it
more
deserved
love.
anything at all, it deserved an original screenplay
That's true.
nomination, and it got it. So I'm happy.
Do you guys have a prediction for best picture?
Best picture.
Say La La
Or-
Land.
no,
I think
but-
La La Land is definitely going to win.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Didn't it not win at the... Or it won because there was 2 different categories at the Golden Globes?
Yeah,
right?
It's
Golden
just a
Globes is a little
heavy
different.
favorite.
Okay.
I don't think it deserves to win. Not even close. I'm actually going to be kind of disappointed to see it win, but it will win.
You're a big
I'd be all right
Hidden
with it.
Figures fan?
Haven't seen Hidden Figures, so I can't.
Well, if you have any questions, I'm sort of like an ambassador for it now, since I'm the only one that's seen it here. It was pretty good.
Is there a lot of good math in that movie?
Yeah.
Sick.
There was a lot.
Dope.
Yeah, there's a lot of math. And how about this? Well, can I just say, other than Manchester by the Sea and La La Land, what do you guys think? I mean, I know you probably haven't seen all of them, but what else do you like here?
Moonlight was definitely the best.
I keep having to see.
I'd probably go Moonlight.
And I loved Arrival as well.
I liked Arrival. I don't think it should win though.
Arrival, I really like too, but
I've only seen 4 of these nominees. I gotta get going.
Well, check out, second shout out of the day, twitter.com/JEFFAM. I tweeted, I forgot what movie theater chain, but didn't you looked it up,
Let's
Mike?
not plug it because they're not paying us.
It's true.
But,
That's true.
Ruger Cinemas.
You know what? Look in your area, because sometimes movie theaters will do like specials where you can see.
It is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, like you could see all of the Oscar nominated movies for like a fixed price, which is pretty cool. So maybe, we won't do that because the theater is a little too far. But I'll find a way to see some of these. But very good. Anything else about the Oscars here, guys?
I think we covered it.
I hope Manchester by the Sea cleans house. That's all I'll say.
Would be deserving.
Well, Bakers can't be Rugers, Mike.
Ain't that the truth?
All right, very good. So we'll keep up to date with that. But let's talk Homeland, right? So there wasn't a new episode.
No, there was.
Next week there won't be a new episode.
Next week there won't be a new episode. But you guys have been watching.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Lay it on us.
I liked this episode. I liked where it went with Quinn. Of how it's setting up this like rear window type situation where he's always home and he's going to be watching
it's true.
around. I think that's kind of an interesting way to kind of fit him into the overall season story. And he's back.
He's getting his groove back a little bit. He got a gun.
Yep.
By robbing the man who assaulted and robbed him. That was okay.
So like that scene.
Still could do with a little less Quinn. It still remains to be seen just what role, if any, he will play in the.
I think he's going to fit in
the end game of this season. But
how'd you feel about all of the Saul stuff?
Saul stuff, gotta be honest, I was a little confused.
Yeah, I was a little lost.
Struggling to follow along just to exactly what he was doing. I know he was he in Iran?
He was in. No, I thought he was in Israel.
Israel, wherever he was. I love it when Homeland goes overseas.
Oh yeah.
I think they've done it every single season since they've been on the air. They've gone to some remote Middle Eastern country, which is cool.
Some whole seasons take place overseas.
The last 2 seasons they've been entirely overseas. But I love it's just such a cool like change of scenery. And just the way they play with those landscapes is really, really interesting. Don't see that a lot on TV.
I really liked, even though I was confused as you were, I liked the interrogation scene that he had because it felt like,
it's just great seeing Saul like at work, doing his thing that he's so skilled at. Like he's such a professional.
Yep.
And he's so good at what he does. So I will always enjoy that.
Yep.
And then of course our favorite, Carrie, just fucking up everything. But at the same time, she'll fuck it up, but then she'll like at the end she'll succeed because that's sort of
how it goes.
How it goes on Homeland.
Yeah,
she'll do something really terrible. She'll destroy a young man's life, but in the end, all will be okay. She will be portrayed as the smart, bright hero.
But I did like how like she comes from this world of shadows. In like all this shadowcraft. Now she's in the light in like the U.S. justice system where you can't do this like backroom dealing because someone will find out and you'll get punished for it. So it's kind of interesting for her to kind of come against walls.
And she had the gall to show up in that man's
to do it again.
and to tell him that sorry, I screwed up. I couldn't follow a simple order, and as a result, I've completely destroyed your life. Sorry about that. but she in the end, she made
person,
it right,
like.
I guess, by blackmailing the FBI agent.
Yeah.
So now he's going to get out.
Presumably,
right?
yeah.
So good on her for
scene
doing
with the
that.
with the whatever agent that got her the recordings was a little weird. Like, he's so fervently says no, and they just show up.
I don't want to jeopardize my career, my family, my life.
This isn't Afghanistan here.
Get out of my face. But the next morning, maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was someone else.
That's true. We don't know for sure.
I guess it also could be argued that if she hadn't did what she did, like if she didn't completely betray the orders of the FBI and destroy his chances at a deal, that she wouldn't have been compelled to then go and like blackmail the FBI agent. So in the end, she did the right thing.
That's true. If I have to predict what's going to happen in the future, the kid's going to get let out. Then he's going to commit some crazy attack, and it's all going to be her fault.
I think he's bad.
Yeah.
I think
that he wasn't bad, but obviously he was sort of bad because we saw him doing all that crazy stuff.
Think he's gonna?
But I think this situation is going to radicalize him in a way that he wasn't before, and he will commit an attack.
It's a good prediction.
That's what I believe will happen.
Just a quick thought about.
Oh, hey, Jeff.
Well, I haven't seen any of this, and to be honest, how many seasons deep are we?
6. Yeah.
So it's a little bit of
there's a lot of
a process to get caught up to where you guys might be, and I haven't even started. But I will say this: this is the second time that so clearly there's lots of terrorism being talked about in this show, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to briefly mention I did see the Mark Wahlberg movie,
the Boston
Patriots Day.
Yes. Did you see it, Chris?
No, I haven't seen it, but yeah, Mike has.
And before I just wanted to make a statement about this. Are you guys all good with your Homeland talk?
Yeah, I think we covered it. Yeah.
I took a nap, so I don't have any context for where you are or anything. And you, sorry, Chris, you didn't see it?
No. But you can speak. I mean,
I'd like to speak to you, Mike, about one.
Chris is aware of the general events of that movie.
Yeah.
Don't spoil that movie for me, guys.
Well, okay, Mark Wahlberg. Everything in that movie was supposed to be real except for the main character, right?
Do you agree with me that was an issue?
Yes. But also, the scene of the movie and the people I saw it with, it was so weird because I was thinking this from the moment this scene happened. And then right when I came out, my friend turned to me and said the same thing, which was Mark Wahlberg really the only person that could identify where those security cameras were?
I actually singled that scene out in the review I wrote for the website.
I didn't read it because I hadn't seen it, so I didn't want to.
Yeah, I agree. That scene is preposterous.
And it was such a drawn out scene.
It was and it was set up as though he was like this savant, like he's the expert on Boylston Street storefronts.
Yeah.
That he's the only one in the whole world that could have identified them.
My friend Jacob, shout out Jacob, we got to last week, put it like this. They set up that whole FBI crazy area. They've got the audio analysis, the video analysis, which was also a little bit sketchy how they showed how they identified White Hat Man. Just couldn't get their hands on Google Earth to identify where the storefronts were on Beacon Street there. They had to bring in Marky Mark.
I know. Dude, that scene really just sort of strained the whole credibility of the operation.
It's like we've created a painstakingly accurate recreation of the crime scene here, except for with any of the locations of any of the businesses. We need your help, Mark Wahlberg.
It did kind of feel like a South Park parody.
It sort of did. But other than that,
if you can get past the Mark Wahlberg bullshit, though, it is, I think, an exceptional movie.
we also, I mean, this is more of like a theater by theater thing, but our theater was packed with people like just reacting like, there's the commissioner. Like literally, people were yelling these things out. You know,
that's probably a New England thing, you know.
Yeah,
Close
I'm
to
sure
Boston.
that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
in other parts of the country.
They're Big Poppy.
Yeah, well, no. When Big Poppy
Claps.
came, it was "There's my man, there's my man." That's what it was.
Are you sure Mike wasn't the one?
I was there, right there along with that guy.
If Mike was
in
out
spirit.
on a ladies' night out with a bunch of women,
Applause.
dressed up like a woman. Sure, yeah. There's my man. I was because I knew when people started yelling. I knew when people started yelling stuff that when Big Poppy eventually came, because Mike had mentioned on a previous podcast that Big Poppy was.
How about that shot though? That was like explicitly shot for the movie of him walking down the tunnel.
Yeah, I know.
That was glorious. It got me excited.
I don't know how it was cool. It was just like
It was cool.
because also he was like that's when it really hit me like. Mark Wahlberg was a completely fabricated character. Like when Big Poppy was walking down the tunnel and shook his hand, and then I thought, oh, of course they had to do this because they're about to use real footage, and Mark Wahlberg's not going to show up in the real footage because this whole thing has been like his perspective.
Yeah, they could have Forrest Gumped him.
Do you remember that Mark Wahlberg movie with Will Ferrell, The Other Guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's a scene in that movie where I forget which baseball player is
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter. Do you know the scene I'm talking
He
about?
shoots Derek Jeter.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like that scene. Where
It is kinda, yeah,
he
he was
meets
in a
Derek
tunnel with
Jeter
Derek
walking
Jeter.
up the tunnel, and he shakes his hand, and the gun accidentally goes off and shoots Derek Jeter.
you know, I recently watched another Mark Wahlberg movie, and I had never seen this movie. Man, there's some low quality acting in this movie, and I love M. Night Shyamalan, but The Happening. Do you guys know that?
Oh, the one about the bees?
I think that's considered like M. Night's like nadir film,
What was that mean?
like the low point in his career.
Oh, really?
It's got to be Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That too.
That's got to be the worst.
I've actually been
I think
on,
what the happening was, and then he made Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot
Just
of
went
M.
down.
Night movies, but I've been on a binge of ones I haven't seen. Well, a binge of two. That one and The Devil, the one where they're in the elevator.
He just produced that one, I think.
Yeah, that
That's
really wasn't his.
true. Well, he produced it and wrote it,
Oh, okay.
or he wrote the story.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just say, man, The Happening. There's some rough acting in that movie. Like, I don't know if it's like they're supposed to be being weird, maybe, but like very stiff. You know, it was just sort of a rough.
What do you think about Devil? Did you predict who the devil was?
I didn't, and it was okay.
My prediction, just the last tangent, we can move on. My prediction for Devil was that there was no specific devil, and the devil was like hopping from individual to individual.
That would have been cool.
That's what I thought was happening, but I ended up being wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously we won't spoil it.
I really
but
like the opening of Devil,
the upside down.
the upside down city.
It was very
Kind of reminded me of
unnerving.
The Shining. It's opening.
Oh yeah, is The Shining's opening the ski resort upside down?
Not all of it's upside down, but when it's just following the car and it's following, it has like that creepy music.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing that I found so unnerving about the opening of The Happening was, like, obviously it's like every movie city opening, but upside down. But then, like, clearly they shot it special because they would keep going to, like, the camera would be upside down and then it would, like, slowly start to flip, like, over, like, the bridge and almost look like we're going to come right side up, but right when we're about to switch, it would switch to it, like, it would cut to another shot. That what was so unnerving because, you know, upside down just feels weird and then, oh, we're finally going to turn over. No, we're right back to being upside down. Yeah, that was interesting. And I mean, yeah, I feel like the Happening was the least, like, the poorest twist of M. Night Shyamalan that I've seen. But, okay, cool. I don't now, Chris. You haven't seen the very latest episode of Taboo, right?
No, I might be 2 behind, but I think I'm only 1 behind.
Well, let's just talk briefly. Let's save episode 4 for next podcast, and let's just see if we can talk about up to episode 3, because we haven't talked episode 3 yet. So this is the one. Episode 3 begins with right after he's been attacked.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
And then he like sort of does the switcheroo where he makes his will.
Yeah, if he dies, the Nuka sound goes to the Americans.
Yeah, which was cool. This whole show, just like this this overarching theme of like, he's a crazy dude. Like, what, like, who is this dude? Like, still, even though we're finding out more, like, you just sort of never know.
It kind of parallels the Young Pope, which we're going to talk about in a second, where there's just this main character, and you end up liking Tom Hardy a lot more, because he's like actually a good person, but
yeah,
you're hoping that the main character has this grand plan in his head, and slowly but surely you're getting little bits and pieces of this grand plan. And it's coming together nicely.
Yeah, it was. So what happens at the end of this episode?
The lady, the ex-wife, the supposed ex-wife, where they married in Ireland, of his father comes, and she starts living in the house with him.
Yeah, that whole dynamic is so... Wait, like, does he rescue her or something? Like, doesn't someone try to attack her, too?
I think
it's a couple weeks old for me now.
He invites her in, and then they start boarding up the house because he says, like, people are trying to attack us. So we need to stay safe. Then she's like, "Oh, I'm an actress, so I kind of have to leave."
Yeah, so that'll be a whole dynamic that we can look at.
I hope they go to the U.S. eventually.
That would be really cool to switch switch backgrounds.
Also, some very gruesome things happen in that episode. Tom Hardy rips a man's neck with his mouth. He almost like cannibalizes a man in like a ritualistic sacrifice to cleanse the spirits of a boat.
There's lots of like, and again, I've seen one more episode, so I won't say, but just going from the depiction of the royal family in The Crown compared to how they're depicted in
That's the weakest part of this show. There's like a cartoonish Prince Regent, and he's very make-upped up with like rosy red cheeks, and he's like a buffoon.
That is a good way to put it, cartoonish.
It's like he kind of like sucks the grittiness out of the show.
Yeah, it's
but it does show like the opulence of the royal family and how it's just like, oh, I want these X marks to be green instead of red. You need to go redo this map.
In the next episode, I actually think the next episode is one of my favorites, so I'll be looking forward to you seeing it and us being able to discuss it. Mike, you should check it out.
Yeah, it's just sort of racking up all the episodes on my DVR. I don't know if I'll get around to it.
Watch one and see if it sucks you in. Or, like Tom Hardy says, see if it sucks you in, or see if it cannibalizes your throat to steal your soul, as it has with many of us.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's good stuff. We'll dive in more next week when we're all caught up. But let's talk about our good friend, the young Pope, who now has himself said, "I am the young Pope."
You did say
that. Which makes me think, I don't know, I have a feeling like that they pushed for this show being called The Young Pope, and that they didn't like that when those lines were being said, everyone knew this is the name of the show.
Now that it's been called The Young Pope, I really can't see another name for the show. Yeah. Nothing else would fit as perfect as The Young Pope.
Yep.
So we're talking about, again, if you guys haven't been following along, we're getting treated to 2 episodes of this per week by HBO, one on Sunday and one on Monday. You guys are all caught up?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that means we've just watched episodes 5 and 6, right?
Yep.
Any thoughts?
Well, I just marathoned. I know Mike did too. I caught up on the latest 3 episodes. So it's all like a blur in my mind.
Well, I'll just lay this stuff out. So we have the ongoing storyline with Voyello trying to bring him down using like that woman.
Well, that's kind of late to rest now, right?
But we're well.
Oh,
not,
we haven't
not
spoken
in
about
episode
it.
5.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's the stuff with the woman, and then I mean in the next episode we also have him meeting with the prime minister, which was a whole crazy like.
That was a good scene.
I gotta say, okay, well, no, let's talk about the storyline with the woman first, because there's a bunch of stuff with the prime minister too. I'd like to talk about. What do you guys think about what's going on with the woman? Because there's been some like, you know, we don't really know what he's thinking. Obviously, that's the whole foundation of this whole show, like, right? That we have no idea what the hell he's really doing.
It's still unclear.
There were times during all those scenes where he was being spied on where it felt like this, like, which I know it is, like such like a quirky. It almost felt like a quirky, like foreign comedy.
Yeah,
where, like they would be doing some salacious thing, and then it would cut to, and like literally like 5 feet away, there would be like 3 men with a camera, and they would be snapping pictures.
I agree.
And I couldn't believe he couldn't see like sometimes they were on a roof far away, but like,
well, he knew what they were doing.
He eventually knew, but I don't know.
I'm thinking
how.
maybe he did know.
Yeah, I know he found
Like,
out.
I know he knew in general, but like I'm thinking that maybe he did know at that time.
He just kept doing it.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, because didn't he say the words that he spoke when he had his hand on her body, like, wasn't it something like very threatening, like to the cardinal? Like, it was something like this is an extreme paraphrase, but like, we're all pieces of shit, just like those cardinals.
I think it was something like, we have to look to Mother Mary in our time of need, or something like that.
He just has these, and he's very, he's just this mixture of like self-indulgent, like he's just like very full of himself too, like. Like, just the comments he makes that are, like, supposed to be funny, like, I know I'm extremely good looking, or, like, look in my eye, like, my beautiful eyes. But then, like, oh my gosh. And then, so there's that, and then obviously that comes to a head as we were talking about, where he reveals that he knew everything, and Voyello, like, grovels at his feet. This is, like, a thing. I was wondering this while I was watching, like, how much more of this can we go through? Like, it's just like, Voyello tries to do some crazy shit to bring him down. He stomps it out, but, like, what is up with that? Like, he stomps stuff out, but like 90% of the time he's just like, and now you'll just go on, like, being closely associated with me. Like, is that just going to be the whole show? Like, these people that he allows to be close to him, like, trying to take him down, and him just demonstrating that he doesn't care,
well,
like, continuing on.
Now that we've gotten the Italian Prime Minister introduced, I think we're starting to see, like, these other forces come into play, where, like, now he's clamped down on the Catholic Church, and he has this rule there, but, you know, the Catholic Church is just one institution in many, one powerful institution in many in the kind of the global landscape.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because that's something that really, and Chris, I know you have a strong interest in history and in religion and things, so this must really be an interesting view for you. I mean, I know it's fiction, but to get that insider view of what some of the details that it might be like inside of the Vatican, I mentioned this when we were talking a couple weeks ago. Like, it interests me so much. Like the Pope is pretty much like the president, right? Like, of this nation.
You mean Vatican City or Italy?
Because they are like a nation.
Pope, right? Yeah, the Pope. Yeah,
and then the other guy. The guy that keeps trying to bring him down, Voyello?
Yeah.
He's the Secretary of State? Like, they keep calling him the Secretary of State, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, that's just how it is. Like, there's just this nation where the Pope is going to be the Pope for as long as he wants. The Secretary of State's going to be there for as long as he wants. It's just really interesting to see the inner workings, because you have to, like, sorry to interrupt, Chris, but, like, it must be so different than, how the Secretary of State of the United States is,
Yeah.
but we're seeing the inner workings of this really unique institution.
I think the Secretary of State is appointed by the Pope. So I think the Pope can do it, especially the young Pope.
But he won't bring him down.
I think the Pope can do anything he wants. He might think, like, if I break you, you're more easily controlled than, like, some random guy that I bring in,
That's true. you
probably,
never know
that's probably what I would think.
What this guy's thinking.
Yeah. But I do like this future, which is one probable future of the Catholic Church, where it's a declining nation that's hemorrhaging money, and now with the more radicalized young Pope in power, they're losing following as well. So it's kind of interesting to see what are you going to do, and which I wasn't as hot on the Prime Minister discussion as it seems like you guys are, because that if he did reveal himself just to not get this man elected, I don't think that's his plan. He might just be saying that to get this guy off his back. But I think if he did that, it would kind of stall his plan of being this shadowy organization. Because once you can only play that trick once.
Oh, it was definitely a threat.
I know, but I think it's kind of an empty threat, is what I'm saying.
Well, he brought that up though, Chris. He specifically said, "You think I wouldn't do it, or you think the people wouldn't follow, or what?"
Well, they might follow, but I think say he does, and then say he does do that, and then the Prime Minister isn't reelected 20 years from now. I mean, the young Pope is young; he's going to be Pope for a long time. So 20 years from now, there's another Prime Minister that also is very progressive. He can't play that same trick twice,
Yeah. Well, couldn't he? Couldn't he just tell everyone not to vote for someone again?
But the young Pope's argument in that scene was that this will be my coming out, and if the first thing I say when I come out is don't vote for this man, it's going to be very powerful.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll have to follow along with how that goes, and then the other big thing, I guess, was the whole. We get the scene where he goes out with his childhood friend.
Yeah, I like that. Who
turns out to be doing some questionable things, at least as far as in the eyes of Lenny.
Yeah, this whole show is filled with awesome monologues, just like a character.
Are they awesome, though?
In my mind, they are. Just zooming in on a character, and
I gotta be honest, I'm struggling a little bit with this show.
Come on.
It is
it is
at some point
it's scatterbox.
It is, yeah.
And
it's different.
It's disjointed, and there are just so many long, drawn-out scenes in which characters just talk at one another.
Are you describing the young Pope or Manchester by the Sea?
No, but I agree with you. But I think there's enough connective tissue to keep me going, and enough good scenes to keep me going.
Yeah, certain episodes I think work. I think the 5th episode I really liked with there was a heavy focus on Lenny and his foster brother and his parents, our friend Colin Smith. That episode worked for me, but But episode 4, there was just so much of Lenny, the young Pope, with what's her name, Esther. All those scenes just were so dry and boring, and I couldn't do it. I watched it, but I wasn't enjoying it. But yeah, it's just so the show is just at any given moment it could be that, or it could be really, really interesting and fun and engaging. I liked a lot the scene with the Prime Minister. But,
it's definitely disjointed. But it's just I think the young Pope is one of the most intriguing characters on TV to me right now. I have no idea what he's doing.
And also
what is he doing?
Airing them 2 at a time over 2 days kind of alleviates that a little bit, because you're able to. It's like midway between binge watching and watching weekly. Yeah. You can you kind of gorge on it for 2 hours a week.
The thing that kills me is just what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do when he finds out his best friend is questionable? Because that's first of all, he himself, I don't know. Is he doing questionable things? Like, we still don't really know what he really thinks. So that'll be interesting what he's going to do when that comes out. And then I guess the last thing I was going to talk about is just, Chris, I want to mention to you, I saw that they brought up that statue that you mentioned was incorrectly in the room again.
Yeah, him and Vuelo, the young Pope and Vuelo had like a scene in front of that about homosexuality and the persecution of it.
Yeah, didn't he say you're like lusting at the statue or something?
Well, Vuelo was.
Yeah.
That was like his character. That was part of his character in the first episode. Did you listen to that podcast about how that statue isn't actually there?
What podcast?
When
we first talked about the young Pope, it was like a little, it was a little discussion. It was easily overheard.
Chris brought up there's a historically inaccurate statue that's not actually at the Vatican that they speak about.
Oh, okay.
And they spoke about it again on this episode when he's asking Voyello why he's looking at the statue. It's the same statue. It's not there. Two more things, man. Well, have you guys been watching the after episode, like inside the episode thing?
I watched the latest one, but I
didn't even know they were doing this.
Yeah. I found it really interesting, like when he does his crazy, elaborate dressing up now.
Yeah.
Like, and I found it interesting, they were talking afterwards, like, that's how it used to be done. Like, the Pope actually doesn't dress up that elaborately now.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. He looks crazy when he's in that, getting carried in by the men.
No, it was a great juxtaposition when he was having the discussion with the Prime Minister, because Prime Minister is, like, the height of modern-day formal wear, where it's just black tie, like, black suit, red tie, white shirt, and the young Pope is, like, this overflowing golden mass sitting next to him. Just dictating to him. Yeah.
It really was, it was pretty crazy, but we'll, and then finally, the other thing I wanted to mention is, this ongoing thing with his parents. Shout out friend of the podcast, Colin Smith. Like, what is going to be going on with that? Like, there has to be some outcome to that, right? Like, something's going to happen with that where it either changes his outlook on something.
It's clearly a driving force behind so much of what he does. Is that just unfulfillment, that void in his life, not never knowing his parents. So
it'll be interesting to see where it goes. And just, one more time, I wanted to mention, Chris, that was a good comparison. Like, sometimes I do feel like I'm watching like a BBC comedy, like 1990s show, like a 1990s BBC comedy show. Like, it'll just cut and some like quirky, weird thing will be happening for like 30 seconds, and then it's just done.
Yeah.
Like, but that's interesting stuff. But good stuff. We'll keep up with everything. And before we go, Mike, where can we find you on the internet?
On Twitter at linguistics_screeningclub.com.
And Chris?
Twitter.com/thatmorris and ScreeningClub.com.
Me, you can always find at therealjeffmoore.com or on Twitter, twitter.com/Jeffam, JEFFAM. If you guys would like to get in touch and share your comments or thoughts, you can email us, as always, at screeningclub@gmail.com. And, as the guys just mentioned, ScreeningClub.com. Visit us for more articles, insight, and to share your thoughts online. Thanks again for joining us, guys, and enjoy your week of TV. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
God bless.